Yo, what's going on, guys? FaZe, Blaziken, or Lucas here, and as always, I hope you guys are all having a great day so far. Okay, if I hit a trick shot this game, everybody gets a $20 PSN card. Nope. Fuck off. Okay, well anyway, today I got a little story for you guys. This one's an interesting one. Since I moved into the FaZe house in New York, I've been coming back to California to visit my family, I'd say every month and a half. And every time I drive to the airport or come back from the airport, I always take an Uber. And for those of you that don't know what Uber is, real quick, it's basically like an app on your phone for taxis that lets you call a taxi whenever you want to, wherever you want to. I've been using it for kind of a while now. Like I said, I use it... Okay. But yeah, like I said, I use it a lot. I use it a lot to go to airports. I use it a lot to just get around. And I've always had really awesome Uber drivers, so no discredit to Uber at all. They do a great job of hiring good people. But there was one time where I got this one Uber driver that really creeped me the fuck out. So here's what went down. So the story happened last time I came to California, so 5 to 6 weeks ago, something like that. I landed at the San Francisco airport and I was outside waiting for an Uber to come. And so I'm on my phone and I call the Uber, and the Uber driver pulls up, I'd say about 5 minutes later. Now the first thing that you need to know about this Uber driver is he looked so much like Donald Trump. I can't put into words how much this dude looked like Donald Trump. Like he could probably be famous for looking exactly like Donald Trump. That's how close they looked alike. Anyway, so Donald Trump, the Uber driver, pulls up and I hop in, and you know, it's all good. Nothing weird is going on just yet. So we're driving along, and again, nothing weird is going on yet, and I start talking to him because I usually talk to the Uber drivers when I'm in their car. Plus, I think it's kind of awkward when we just sit in silence and don't talk to each other. Also, most Uber drivers that I've had have been really nice and just like to talk. So I started to talk with Donald Trump, the Uber driver, and you know, we're just asking each other kind of casual questions. You know, where are you from? You know, where do you live? What do you do? And it's really just friendly, light conversation. But then he asks me what I do. You know, do I go to school? Do I do YouTube? And I told him that I make YouTube videos, and I started to tell him a little bit about it, and this is where it got really weird. The Uber driver all of a sudden got really interested in like what I do on YouTube, and he asked me a ton of questions. And you know, I didn't have any problem with it at first because people ask me all the time about YouTube, and you know, they ask me all these questions. I love talking about what I do. You know, I'm happy to talk about it. But this guy was asking a lot of questions, like really random questions too, like what internet provider do you have, like what do I need to like upload videos. He was just asking a lot of questions, and then he started asking me about money, and it got really uncomfortable for me here because he asked it very forcefully. He started off by asking like how much money do YouTubers make, or like how much do you make off a YouTube video, and then he asked me how much money I made a month. And he didn't only ask me one time, he asked me 3 times, like back to back. The first 2 times I kind of like shrugged it off. At first I think I said like I don't really know how much money I make or something like that, but he kept asking me like, oh yeah, but you know, how much money do you actually make? And then he asked me again, and he was like turning around and looking at me too with really big eyes, and then I just told him straight up, I feel really uncomfortable that you're asking me all these questions about, ooh, I just dodged that guy. But yeah, I told him that he was making me really uncomfortable, and then I just didn't want to talk about money at all. And like when I said that, I was kind of giving him a little bit of an attitude because like I was feeling really uncomfortable. I didn't like that he was asking me these questions, so I kind of gave him an attitude. And he called me on it too. He said, whoa, I was just asking questions. No need to get an attitude. And everything he was saying was like in a really weird, like way too friendly, way too just like nonchalant. I don't know how to explain it. Very creepy. So we end up getting to my house, which is this house right here. We pull up to it, and I didn't even notice that we pulled up because I was just on my iPhone in the backseat just chilling. So we were just standing in front of my house, and I look up after I'm on my iPhone, and I look up at the Uber driver. He's looking right at me, and he doesn't say anything, and then he looks at my house, and he's kind of like trying to look through the windows. He's like looking very closely at my house, and he asked me if that was my house. And so I was really uncomfortable and really creeped out by this dude. I didn't know what he wanted to do. He was being kind of weird, and so I was like, no, oh my goodness, I must have accidentally put the wrong address into my Uber app, and it was in the moment, and I tried to sound as convincing as possible, and I told him that I lived like a couple blocks down the street. And so he drops me off at my friend's house, and I get out of the car, he gives me my bag, I walk up to the door, and I was kind of just waiting for him to leave so that I could, you know, walk away from that house and walk down to my house. But the guy didn't leave. He was just standing there for a good 5 minutes, and luckily my friend's mom was home, and she ended up letting me in. She was really confused. I told her about what was going on, and she was like, do you want me to like call the cops or something? Because the Uber driver was still standing out in front of her house. But so then finally he ended up driving away, and all seemed to be good. I ended up walking back to my house with my bag. But I'd say about like 30 minutes later, I'm sitting in my living room, I'm just on my phone, I randomly look to my left, like completely by chance, and I see the same Donald Trump looking motherfucker in his same Uber car, and he's like slowly driving past my house, looking through all the windows, and he makes eye contact with me, and I'm just like, no, dude. But thankfully, that was the last time that I ever saw that Uber driver. For like a couple days, I was really afraid that he was gonna like break into our house or some crazy shit like that. Nah, I didn't really believe that he was gonna break into our house, but I was definitely creeped out. It was just a really creepy, weird situation. But yeah, guys, that wraps up today's video. I kind of just had this little Uber story for you guys, and if you enjoyed, as always, feel free to leave a like. If you're new around here, feel free to subscribe. But yeah, have a great rest of your day. Always remember to stay slothy, and that's been it. Peace.